My bank alert came at 2:14 a.m., a sinking notification that sucked the air out of my lungs. Minus $36,842.19. Gone. I sat straight up in bed, staring at the number like it might rewrite itself if I blinked hard enough. My name is Riley Green, and from wherever you're watching this Stay With Me, have you ever learned the truth about your family through a number on a screen? Because I did the week of my 30th birthday. I called my dad first. He answered on speakerphone, Mum, laughing in the background, music playing, like nothing was wrong. Hey, Dad, something's wrong with my account. My card is maxed. Did something happen? A pause. Then he snapped, You're always so dramatic. The family needed help. Your mum had surgery. Your brother's truck broke down and the mortgage was behind. I sat there frozen. Why didn't you ask me? He scoffed. We don't need to ask for what you owe us. Then came her voice. Mum, with that smug, careless out besides. What were you going to do? Buy yourself cake and candles? You can celebrate alone. We had better plans. That silence afterward, that was my final birthday gift. I said calmly, then don't ever call me again. And I meant it. I hung up, logged into every account, every autopay, every standing agreement. You see, they thought, because I was the responsible one, the one who made it, they had lifetime access to my veins. But that night, I became a scalpel. The mortgage canoed, it was in my name. Mum's credit couldn't qualify. The truck repossessed by noon the next day. My bank called it unauthorized usage. I let them have her student loan frozen, my cosign revoked under financial duress. No warnings, no yelling, just surgical detachment. I turned my pain into paperwork, and their birthday gift to themselves was the moment they lost me. The next morning, my phone lit up like a forest fire. Missed calls, text after text, angry, confused. Then suddenly sweet speech balloon. Riley, the truck's gone. What's going on? Speech? Balloon. Honey, did something happen with the mortgage? The bank says it's in default. Speech balloon, just call us. We're family. Family. Funny how that word only shows up when the lights go out. I didn't respond. I was busy freezing, my credit changing all my passwords, calling every agency I needed to disconnect the lifelines they drained. See, they forgot something. I wasn't just generous. I was the owner, I was the co-signer, the guarantor, the emergency contact they used like a damn debit card, and they mistook my kindness for eternal permission. It wasn't the $36,000 that broke me. It was how easy it was for them. No guilt, no hesitation, just a birthday. Ruined by the people who taught me what love should look like, and then sold that image back to me with a forged signature I opened. My old messages scrolled to last Christmas. Dad, we're proud of you, kid. You're our success story, Mum. We don't say it enough, but you're our miracle. I used to cry reading those now. I just felt hollow. Because if I was a miracle, why did they turn me into an ATM with a heartbeat? I channeled their lifelines with the same quiet they used to drain mine, and while they called, shouted, pleaded, I took a long, deep breath for the first time. I wasn't the fixer, I was the firewall. And I wasn't done yet. By Friday, they were desperate enough to show up in person. I watched through the peep-hole Dad, red face, pacing the porch like he paid the rent. My mum in her leopard print cardigan, fake crying louder than the doorbell. I didn't answer. I let them scream through the wood because screaming is just noise when it's not backed by respect. They stood there for 10 minutes. Pounded, begged, threatened Riley. You're ruining everything. We trusted you. How could you do this to your own family? I sat on the couch sipping coffee from the mug they bought me 2 birthdays ago. It said, hash on autocutie, right? I let the doorbell ring, and when it stopped, I opened my laptop and sent the final email to my lawyer. Full disassociation paperwork, power of attorney, revoked financial ties dissolved. That included the family phone plan, the Amazon Prime I'd been paying for 6 years, the Hulu, the Netflix, the utilities in my name. Because Mum's credit was trash, cut every single cord. That afternoon, Mum posted a cryptic status on Facebook. It's always the ones you love most who hurt you the deepest. She tagged No one but her friends flooded the comments. You raised her too soft. She owes you everything. Kids today are so entitled. I gave them everything, not out of duty, but because I believed in family until they weaponized it. I changed my number that night, left one final voicemail. You chose your comfort over my trust. You broke what I spent a lifetime building, so now you can rebuild without me. Then I blocked every contact. No fireworks, no revenge, plot, just silence the same kind. They gave me when they drained my life for their convenience, and the silence was finally mine. It started with a text from my cousin Amanda. Speech balloon. Did you really shut off the gas at your parents' place? It's freezing. Riley, they have no heat. I stared at the message for a full minute before typing back, speech balloon. I didn't shut it off, I just stopped paying for it. No reply, just 3 dots and then nothing. That silence was louder than a slap. Later that day, my mum sent an email from a burner address subject line. We didn't raise you to be like this. I didn't open it. I didn't need to, because here's what she didn't understand. She did raise me like this. They both did, by teaching me that love had to be earned, that loyalty came with a ledger, that my value depended on what I could give fix, cover, or clean up. So yes, when I shut off the gas, the truck, the mortgage, the loans, I was simply returning to send all the years of neglect disguised as parenting. Dad once told me, family doesn't keep score. He said that right after I covered his second DUI fine, so I stopped keeping score, and I closed the account. I started therapy that month. My therapist asked, when did you first feel responsible for your parents? I answered without thinking. When I was 12 and Mum cried because she couldn't afford the electric bill, so I got a job sweeping hair after school. That was the first time I realised I was raising them, not the other way around. And now all I'd done was finally grow up and leave the children behind. I didn't feel guilty. I felt clear, because sometimes choosing yourself feels like violence to the people who only knew you as a resource, and I was no longer available for withdrawal. The group chat was renamed. Without me, family threads I had created, now repurposed to bury me alive, screenshots landed in my inbox from Amanda. Again, she didn't even say anything this time. Just sent the receipts. Speech balloon. Riley's heartless speech balloon. We gave her everything, clothes, food, a roof, speech balloon. She got fancy and forgot where she came from, where I came from. Let me remind you, I came from eviction notices taped to windows, from watching Mum, fake seizures to get extensions, on bills from Dad borrowing cash and calling it gifts. I should be grateful to give. I came from survival, and I turned it into stability for all of us. But they didn't want stability. They wanted submission, they wanted me dependent, guilty, grateful, because my success made their stagnation impossible to ignore. So now, when I stood firm, I was cold, heartless, ungrateful. They forgot the dinners I paid for, the Christmases I made magical, the birthdays they never remembered but always expected me to fund. Amanda messaged again. Speech balloon. I know it's messy, but they're still your parents. I typed, paused, deleted, then wrote speech balloon. And if you break someone over and over, you don't get to be shocked when they stop coming home blocked. The thread muted the guilt that night. I posted a single message to my small online circle: boundaries don't make you cruel. They just make the quiet easier to live in. Within hours, DMs flooded in. Strangers, friends, co-workers. I needed this. I've been Riley too. Thank you for saying what. I didn't need the family's version of me anymore there. Rewritten Riley. The selfish daughter, the ungrateful sister. I had rewritten myself, and this version, she wasn't here for performance, forgiveness. She was here to live. It was a Sunday, rain tapping on my windows. Like a soft warning, I lit a candle. Made tea. For once I was still. Then came the voicemail. Riley, it's your mum. Your dad broke his leg. We're at county, no insurance. They won't do the surgery unless we cover part of the cost. We know you're upset, but this is serious. This is family. Please just call back for 3 minutes. I said nothing, just stared at my phone like it was a bomb, because I knew that tone, the one she used when she wanted to yank me back into duty, the one that never came with apology, only urgency. I opened a spreadsheet, pulled up the numbers. I could pay it easily, but I also pulled up a folder on my desktop titled History Inside, where emails, screenshots, account statements, the time they overdrew my checking without telling me the birthday, they forgot while charging dinner to my card the moment they stole $36,000 and called it helping the family. And suddenly that emergency didn't feel like mine, it felt like another trap dressed in blood ties. So I didn't call back. Instead, I wrote a check not to the hospital to myself, a deposit into my peace fund, because the guilt was trying to climb back in, but this time I slammed the door shut. I texted Amanda, speech balloon, tell them, I hope he heals, but I won't bleed again to fix their wounds. No reply, and that silence, it didn't ache anymore. It felt like oxygen. That night, I slept with the window cracked and no phone by my bed. For once, I wasn't bracing for impact, I was resting, because letting go of people who never saw your worth isn't cruelty, it's choosing to live. And I was finally living on my own terms. I walked into the wedding like I didn't owe anyone my softness. My cousin Ava was getting married, and despite the chaos, I refused to miss her day. She'd always been the quiet one who saw me before the career, before the fallout, but I knew they'd be their mum, in a too-tight dress she couldn't afford. Dad, in a cheap rented tux, leaning on a cane like the limp was a performance the second I entered the hall. I felt them, not love, not warmth, just eyes tracking me, measuring the distance between memory and reality. I wore black satin, not to mourn, to mark that I was no longer the daughter they owned. I was the woman they couldn't reach. They didn't approach me, but they didn't need to. Their glances screamed, talk to us, see what you've done, fix it like you used to. But I didn't flinch. I sat with Ava's friends, laughed loud, danced hard, let joy be defiant during dinner. Mum walked past my table, paused, rested a shaky hand on my chair. You look different, she said. I met her eyes. I am. She opened her mouth, but I held up my hand. I'm here for Ava, not you. Her eyes glossed over, not from grief from loss, because she finally saw what she threw away. I was no longer the rescue boat. I was the lighthouse shining from a distance. Untouchable, Dad raised his glass during the toast and glanced at me like he expected some gesture of peace. I didn't blink, didn't raise mine. Peace doesn't come from pretending nothing happened. It comes from walking through fire and refusing to carry someone else's smoke that night. I danced until my heels hurt, sang until my voice cracked left without goodbyes, and when I got home I took one last thing off autopay my childhood. It's been a year since the stolen $36,000, since the voicemail. That broke more than my trust since I stopped picking up their calls and started answering my own. The guilt doesn't hit the same anymore. It used to show up in my chest like a fire alarm. Now it's just a faint noise in the background, easily silenced with truth. The truth is, I gave them more than money. I gave them access to my beating heart, and they treated it like a debit card with no overdraft limit. Not anymore. I built something, my own apartment, my own business, a circle of friends who don't say we're family just to hurt me. Slower this birthday, I didn't get a call from them. Not a card, not a fake text, nothing. But I got a knock at my door. Ava holding a cake with candles, and a whisper. We were never the problem. You were just the first to escape. We lit the candles. We didn't make wishes. We just breathed, because healing isn't always loud. Sometimes. It's choosing not to reopen the door. Even when loneliness knocks, dressed in old love, I stopped chasing blood ties and started choosing soul ties. The kind that don't ask for your pieces, payment, the kind that don't drain you to feel full. The kind that call you, not because they need something, but because they see you. Mum still posts cryptic status updates, Dad still plays victim in family circles, but their voices don't echo anymore because I built walls out of self-respect, and I don't care what they say now, because I'm not theirs to ruin anymore. I mind fully, finally, freely.